Hello and welcome to the first edition of Rob Carson's What in the World. This show is about talking about the day's events, what's going on, and maybe even having a laugh. This week hasn't been very funny. This week has been really tough. We have the coronavirus, the Wuhan virus, that is impacting all of us. Maybe it's happened to you. My daughter's school is closed tomorrow. She's going on spring break next week, so they'll have plenty of time to disinfect, I guess, the school, even though there's only been 1 or 2 cases of the virus in the county that I live in. Okay. The NCAA tournament apparently is off. The NBA season is off. Disney World is closed. You know, these are strange times in which we live. But we're going to sort through it tonight and maybe do our very best to have a little bit of fun while also doing that. Have you changed the way you live? Today, for the first time in my life, and I don't like to succumb to mania. I don't like to succumb to panic. But where I work today, there was a whole hell of a lot of hand sanitizer. There were a whole lot of Clorox wipes everywhere. I made a joke today because one of the people who are in charge of the place came over to my desk and said, excuse me a second, sprayed my desk with Clorox, bleach, whatever the hell, and, went over with a rag. And I said, so you're telling me that what I normally do, which is to come in and lick my entire desk clean before I go to work, that's not good? Yeah, I got to chuckle. I don't know anything about pandemics. I'll bet there's a good chance you don't either. But is this going to be the next bubonic plague? Is this going to be the next smallpox when the country and the world weren't ready for it? I don't think so. I don't like to tempt fate. Trust me, I do not want to tempt fate. But this pandemic started in a city called Wuhan in China, where there are several laboratories that work with viruses, presumably because it's the Chinese government, to weaponize them. And it just so happens it appears to have escaped into Wuhan and then gone around the world. But this, of course, would the national media has done their very best to blame it on us. Yeah, you and I have been referring to this virus as the Wuhan virus, or I've called it a bunch of coronavirus. I don't know where the coronavirus come from. Coronavirus, apparently there's a coronavirus is there are a variety of viruses that it could be called coronaviruses. This one just happened to be in Wuhan. But, of course, the Democrat establishment and media are willing to say, even after calling it Wuhan, even after saying it was a foreign virus from the country of China, now they're saying that if we call it the Wuhan virus, or the Chinese virus, we are xenophobes.
We're starting to see a message shift here because you're starting to hear the Republicans, especially Trump calling it the Wuhan or the Chinese coronavirus. They're looking for someone to blame.
No. You see, just a couple of weeks ago, this is what the media was calling it.
Concern is growing this morning over an outbreak of a new SARS-like virus in China. At least 6 people have died from the Wuhan coronavirus.
The Wuhan coronavirus.
The 34-year-old ophthalmologist diagnosed Saturday with the Wuhan coronavirus.
The Wuhan coronavirus.
If you're so offended, do you suppose they'll start calling Peking duck just duck? Because you wouldn't want to blame China for it, I guess.
Coronavirus. What more can you tell us about the similarities or differences between SARS and the Wuhan coronavirus?
The Wuhan coronavirus.
The Wuhan coronavirus in China.
The Wuhan coronavirus.
The Wuhan coronavirus.
And the Wuhan coronavirus.
This week it's racist, though, and xenophobic.
Wuhan coronavirus.
Fears continue to grow over the outbreak of the Wuhan coronavirus.
Wuhan coronavirus.
The Wuhan coronavirus. The Wuhan coronavirus. We have new information about how the
Yes.
Wuhan coronavirus
Yes.
is spread.
Tell me.
Tying coronavirus to China and Chinese people isn't just a racist dog whistle. It's a whole racist orchestra.
Well, you know what? That may be a racist dog whistle, but your show is a pile of dog,
It's a mighty, mighty racist bass tone.
I hear Stephen Miller in this foreign virus setting up travel bans for the outside invasion of the
He hates yellow people.
disease.
Oh, and by the way, Donald Trump suspended European travel, so he hates white people, too.
That's not the
The
way
Chinese coronavirus
Yeah,
that they've been
that's
calling
not-
it. The first U.S. case of Chinese coronavirus.
The Chinese coronavirus. This is
Wait a minute. They called it the Chinese coronavirus.
coming as the Chinese coronavirus.
China's coronavirus outbreak. China's coronavirus.
Outbreak anxiety. The
Yes.
death toll nearly doubles in China's coronavirus outbreak.
China's coronavirus.
Just how bad is China's coronavirus crisis?
China's coronavirus outbreak.
China's coronavirus outbreak.
China's coronavirus outbreak.
China's coronavirus.
China's coronavirus. China's coronavirus.
China's coronavirus.
Concerns about the China coronavirus.
It's going to come across to a lot of Americans as smacking of xenophobia.
Okay. All right. Yeah. You know, my daughter and I are having for dinner tonight. I'm making sweet and sour chicken. I believe it's Chinese, but I'm not going to call it Chinese because that would be xenophobic. As chief White House correspondent, he's still the chief White House correspondent for CNN. Can you believe that Jim Acosta still the really? By the way, you're a racist.
At one point during this address, the president referred to the coronavirus as a, quote, foreign virus. That I think was interesting because as I was talking to sources earlier this evening, one of the points that the president wanted to make tonight, wanted to get across to Americans, is that this virus did not start here, but that they're dealing with it. Now, why the president would go as far as to describe it as a foreign virus, that is something we'll all...
Because it came from China. It came from China, you see. Now, the Chinese government, which is, I guess, not known for the truth. I mean, they did crush a bunch of people in Tiananmen Square, and, 30 or 40 million people died during the reign of a previous president, Deng Xiaoping, and Chairman Mao. But apparently China is now blaming the United States for a virus that they created, apparently, or at least let escape in Wuhan. It's kind of like, I guess, if you could say, blaming the person you gave chlamydia to. For lack of, maybe that's indelicate, but pretty true. Pretty darn true. Carol has joined me. Roger has joined me. David has joined me, and Amy as well. Welcome to Newsmax TV, the greatest new network in the history of mankind, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Rob Carson's What in the World right here. Now, apparently, in some areas, like in Washington, D.C., where I used to live, people are not going to Chinatown. There are several places in the country, cities have a Chinatown. There also are places in the country where Polish people settled closer to the beginning of the 19th century, the 20th century, I should say. All right? So people apparently are not patronizing, and I think this is ignorant, to be quite honest. I will go to a Chinese restaurant. Yeah, are you kidding me? But some people on the left are wanting to blame Republicans, saying that Republicans don't want to go to Chinese restaurants because they're xenophobic and they're ignorant. And nothing could be further from the truth. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is known for her stupidity, ignorance, childlike. No, not really childlike. She's not very childlike. She's an insult to children. Here she is talking about how evil white people are not going to Chinese restaurants because they're xenophobic.
Almost so silly to say, but there's a lot of restaurants that are feeling the pain of racism, where people are literally not patroning Chinese restaurants. They're not patroning Asian restaurants because of just straight up racism around the coronavirus. So,
okay, so patroning is not a word. It's patronizing. It's when you go to a restaurant, but she's not a terribly bright person. Have you stopped going to your favorite Chinese restaurant? Have you stopped going to your favorite Chinese? I haven't. Tonight I'm making sweet and sour chicken. I'm doing it on my own. I'm just making it here at the house because I can. I know how to. But would I go to my favorite local Chinese restaurant? Hell yeah. I really don't believe that. And you know what? I honestly, if you had a favorite Russian restaurant during Chernobyl, I think I'd go there too. Okay, kind of a stretch there, but you know what I'm saying. Most people, 99.9% of people, do not think that if they go to a Chinese restaurant, that they'll get the Wuhan virus. And yes, I called it the Wuhan virus. There's a thing that some people do, which is I call tempting fate. The other day, Representative Matt Gaetz, whatever, Republican, wore a biohazard mask on the House floor, and he ended up apparently being exposed to coronavirus, and he has to quarantine himself. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. The NBA today, well, this is early in the week, the NBA canceled its season because of coronavirus, Wuhan virus, Chinese virus. Rudy Gobert of the Utah Jazz thought the NBA precautions were a joke until earlier this week when he discovered that he tested positive for the coronavirus, and very quickly the NBA canceled the entire season. Here he is at a press conference intentionally pretending to spread the virus. Okay, it's cute, it's funny, but honestly, you don't tempt fate like this, all right? I don't know anything about the virus. You don't know anything about the virus. But I am not going to screw with the virus. And I'm not going to say something that I just think it's bad form. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's my upbringing. There's some superstition there, but you just don't make fun of it. There's a thing called famous last words that happen. Famous last words. And that kind of reminds me, I'm not saying this guy is, those are his last words, but wow. Really? But it's also affecting other populations, including monkey populations. Did you realize this? Okay. Monkeys, normally well fed by tourists in Laburi, central Thailand. Apparently, visitors have not been coming because they're afraid of the Wuhan Chinese virus, also known as the coronavirus, and they are actually fighting each other for food. Things are getting ugly. It's monkey madness, people. Monkeys are actually jumping all over each other for food. And this is the problem with feeding your monkey. You know, monkeys are normally being fed. People are afraid of the coronavirus. In Lumpuri, central Thailand, and now they're fighting over food. You know, really, of all places, I guess, to be afraid of the coronavirus, Lumpuri, central Thailand, I don't know. Other things are happening, by the way, in the world that maybe hit a little bit closer to home. For instance, did you realize that Wheel of Fortune tapings have been closed? Did you know that? Wheel of Fortune, among other things, Wheel of Fortune. Also, Alex Trebek is ill. He's got stage 4 pancreatic cancer, and he can't be around people who are sick. And I understand why Jeopardy is going bye-bye. I absolutely understand why they don't want a studio audience there. Wendy Williams' show, if you ever watched that show, dear God, how desperate are you? Wendy Williams' show is also suspending studio audiences, and I think there's probably a good reason for that. Because personally, I wouldn't want to be exposed to a show that does this.
I have never farted once on this show. As a matter of fact, I barely fart. You know why? Because gas gets released several different ways, and mine is belching because all I do is talk. Ooh. Excuse me.
I don't think I want to be in that studio.
So I'm like in the control. I'm like, guys, there's a hissing noise. Like, what is that? It's like, it sounds crazy. But Kate,
it's Wendy's butt, I guess.
Chemist was
that
here.
was on Kate the Chemist Day. Okay, John.
Right, so they're really having a discussion about this.
We were doing
whether she farts in the studio. I would not want to be in an elevator with her.
An experiment out here with a tank. It's called air gas, and we didn't have the proper hose for it.
So I'm doing Hot Topics the whole time, not realizing any of this chaos is going on.
Right. So what this tank was supposed to do,
Hot Topics, dear Lord,
is we were filling up a fish tank backstage, and we didn't have the proper hose. So in other words, when you drop like a piece of aluminum foil inside the tank, it's supposed to float in midair.
Okay.
So it wasn't working.
Okay.
Because we didn't have the proper hose, and the air was just coming out, and it was sputtering like somebody was farting.
Okay, there you go. And that's probably one of the many reasons I don't watch the Wendy Williams show. And most people don't. But you know what? The pandemic, the Wuhan virus, I'll just go ahead and say, the Chinese virus, the foreign virus, I'm not xenophobic and I'm not racist in any way, shape, or form, has caused some people to behave like, how do I put this? D words for Richard, including a guy who actually, apparently in a drunken state in Brussels, decided to just lick his hands and wipe them over the bars at the subway in Belgium. That's a good idea. There you go. I'm thinking some Jägermeister might have been a part of that one. I could be wrong. An air passenger in China was wrestled to her seat after deliberately coughing at flight attendants. Deliberately coughing at flight attendants, which is apparently now a new version of assault, and I would be a little ticked off too, even if it wasn't the Wuhan Chinese foreign virus. There she is being wrestled to her seat. Let's go ahead and start that again. Wrestled to her seat after coughing in the general direction of a flight attendant. Not a good idea. No bag of peanuts for you.
Stay down.
And aren't you glad it isn't sexually transmitted? Because that could have been a whole lot worse. Yeah. One other interesting thing about this entire virus, this epidemic, and I don't know if you're concerned about it or terrified. I'm not, and I'm not trying to tempt fate. I'm not licking the microphone, although I do this studio and this show in my fabulous home studio. I'm not going to freak out about it. I'm not going to tempt fate by licking my hand and rubbing it onto a city bus, pole that you stand there to hold yourself steady. I'm not going to do that. But one of the interesting things that I've seen is, and never before have I seen anything like this. What are the three things that you're going to need in a disaster scenario? A lot of people say, if you're an Alex Jones listener, that you need all sorts of MREs and you got to have a basement bunker. And he's a nutbag. That said, whenever there's for instance, not necessarily a doomsday scenario, but a giant snowstorm, what are the things that you generally go for? You go for bread, milk, toilet paper. Which of those three can you not live without? Well, you can live without bread because, a lot of people are on the keto diet. Okay? You can live without milk because Captain Crunch is pretty darn good without milk. I mean, just put a bowl and just sit there and you can eat it. But toilet paper, ladies and gentlemen, that's a little bit different. And that's why we have a little bit of toilet paper madness going on at Costco's, among other stores around the country. This is actually in a Costco, and it's happening all over the country. Costco literally having to say, you can't have this many, you can literally do 2 packages of toilet paper, and you're out of here. And when did toilet paper become such a big deal? Well, when people started actually fighting over it. So classy.
Hey, stop! That's enough!
I'm thinking people have the wrong impression on how to wipe the virus off the face of the earth. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Jerry. Jerry. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Calmer heads prevail. Calmer tails, I guess, possible. Everybody just settle down to your corners. Okay, so I mean, what else? Seriously, how bad things are going? Is this as bad as the zombie apocalypse? I mean, seriously, people fighting over toilet paper. How messed up is that? But it doesn't actually stop here. It also is happening in places like Australia.
It's come to this. Snatching toilet rolls in Bankstown. In Tamworth, police had to taser
Tamworth,
a toilet
yeah,
paper
bloody
shopper
hell, right,
accused
yeah.
of throttling another customer and grabbing for an officer's gun. In Casula,
Throttling. That's what they do. They throttle.
Costco,
I think that's fighting.
Used crowd control around a newly arrived pallet.
We can't have people rushing in from all directions.
There was relief at Aldi Edgecliff.
Relief and toilet paper go hand in hand.
Rolls going before they could be packed at this 5-dock servo.
I went to the 7 shops yesterday and they all got nothing left.
From the Northern Territory newspaper, an 8-page toilet paper lift out on Brisbane.
I wouldn't be worried about the Northern Territory. I'd be more worried about the Southern Territory.
Gateway Bridge, an express truck delivery burst into flames.
No!
Its precious cargo, toilet rolls.
The main thing is that no one got hurt tonight. And
yeah, but the inventory was wiped out.
Toilet paper.
Yeah, I know. I'm laughing too. In a kind of scary, uncomfortable way. Like when my Aunt Blanche would come to Thanksgiving. You're kind of like, okay, she's a little nuts. Okay. Calm down. Okay? I know we're used to seeing zombie apocalypse movies. We're used to seeing all these pandemic movies where the worst scenario is presented in cinematic glory. I am not meaning to tempt fate, but calm down. Hold on. My wife literally just texted me and said, do we need toilet paper? No, we don't need toilet paper. I've got show prep. Okay? Let's move on to some other stuff, shall we? Harvey Weinstein has been sentenced to 23 years in prison for, what he did, what he really liked to do, which was, of course, sexually molest women and basically use his position as, this Hollywood mogul who literally would make or break your career. Okay? And he would break your career if you didn't put out. Is that an uncommon thing in Hollywood? No, not so much. He apparently planned to open a sex addiction center run by women to revive his image. Apparently that went away. His idea for the facility in a public statement, which he drafted in 2017 when an avalanche of sexual misconduct allegations first leveled, he said he was going to go ahead and build this. And his PR advisors said that maybe not so much. Now, of course, Harvey Weinstein is now absolutely hated. But not too long ago, Hollywood and the political left loved him.
And his wife, Georgina, on the birth of their new baby boy. Harvey gave us just what we needed, another him.
She doesn't seem very happy about it. That's not a glowing endorsement.
Finally, I'd like to thank Harvey Weinstein. The Punisher, that's his nickname.
The Punisher, that's kind of kinky.
Sure, yes.
Harvey, if I keep thanking you in public, people will think we're having an affair.
Oh, you don't have a vagina.
But nonetheless, if you're choosing sides
and you'd also be willing
playground before a scrap, I would like to have Harvey Weinstein and Graham King on my side.
Harvey Weinstein, Bob Weinstein, God bless them.
My friends at Miramax for making this film, especially Harvey. And
Harvey, thank you for killing whoever you had to kill to get me up here today.
Oh, no, he didn't kill them. He just sexually assaulted them.
And to Harvey Weinstein, the tough guy on the playground with the biggest heart.
And on the casting couch. Don't forget that.
Thank you for saying you'd do anything for your friends, and you always do. Thank you.
And he asked women to do all sorts of things for him.
And then Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey and Bob Weinstein.
Thank you, Harvey Weinstein.
I
want to thank Harvey and Bob Weinstein.
My agent, Kevin Uvain, and God, Harvey Weinstein.
Do you really want to equate the two? That's tempting fate. Oh, you're so silly. Didn't I molest you when you were like 18?
The Punisher. Old
They called him the Punisher. Wow.
Testament, I guess.
Don't kill me.
Especially the bomber Weinstein, my godfather.
Is it better than I do?
Sometimes I call him Jennifer. It's a pet name.
Uncomfortable laugh.
Okay.
I would like to thank Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein, who believed in us and made this movie.
Harvey, thank you to Harvey.
Harvey Weinstein for his commitment.
And to Harvey Weinstein and everyone at Miramax.
He's Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein and Lawrence Bender and
Harvey and Bob Weinstein. You also break my heart with your uncensored passion.
But I have to thank Harvey Weinstein.
Yes, you have to, because otherwise he will absolutely ruin your career. Yeah, you better thank him. Hollywood loved him. Not so much anymore. Now, we live in a really strange world. We agree, right? I mean, you're watching this. That makes you kind of strange, I guess. But we live in strange times. If you were dropped on the planet from 15 years ago, you would walk around and you would be agog, because people walk everywhere with this in their face. And people don't talk anymore. And people walk down the sidewalk and they run into light posts. And people in airports get onto those moving runways and run into people because they're so focused on this. Kansas City Chiefs, yay. There's a lot of oddness going on in the world. But one of the oddest things that I think even in the last 8 years you'd have to go, really? There's a TV show where people get together and they dress up in costume and they sing, and it's called The Masked Singer. And admittedly, I watched it the first week and I thought it was incredibly stupid. Oh yeah, I mean, really, wow. Whoa, you're really into The Masked Singer? That said, who would have said, dropped on the planet from 15 or even 8 years ago, that a former vice presidential nominee would dress up into a bear costume, slightly feminized, and sing Baby's Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot? Well, here's this person being unmasked on The Masked Singer. I guess it sounds like a Harvey Weinstein party. Hold on. Yeah, give me a room. And it is.
Is that Tina Fey? She put it on her glass versus Governor Sarah Palin.
It's not Tina Fey.
Holy snap. Wow. And she was rapping. My goodness. Can you guys believe? She had every lyric to Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back.
I got to tell you, the bear outfit's kind of working for me there, Sarah. Anyway, here's a little bit of her singing out the bit with Sarah Palin. Sarah Palin, former vice presidential candidate, singing "Babies Got Back." This is reality. This is 2020.
The bear, y'all make some noise for Governor Sarah Palin. Can I be your hype man? You get sprung.
I have a feeling that she might have actually been in the White House had she done that before the election. I really don't have words. Democrats have apparently selected Joe Biden as their candidate. Joe Biden has slipped dramatically with regard to his mental and physical state. This is at a campaign appearance afterwards, walking to his van. Very reminiscent of Hillary Clinton passing out and being thrown into the van, looking very unsteady. This isn't funny.
Voters that you don't agree with, sir. Vice President, on the coronavirus, they're both targeting you over this exchange this morning with the voter about guns. Any regrets about how you handled it?
Well, I'm surprised that Sanders is joining Trump. It's just surprising.
Was it appropriate to swear at an American, though, especially a union voter?
Not good. Not good. And again, on a very serious note, here's an older gentleman. He's 77 years old. Do all 77-year-olds have this sort of cognizant issues? Do they have physical and mental issues like this? No, they don't. We have a president of the United States who's only 4 years younger, and he's got it together, although the left would be willing to weaponize the 25th Amendment because he has crazy ideas like smaller government and lower taxes. Joe Biden has got some issues. Again, not funny. Not funny. Let's move on to some other stuff, shall we? You've heard the expression, the show must go on. This is a pretty amazing clip, actually. A Russian singer. I'm going to try the name. Are you ready for this? Anastasia Vishnevskaya. Yes! Is doing a performance. And she's singing. And she doesn't realize that the orchestra pit is open, and she falls a good 10 feet, but continues singing. And here she goes. There you go. She's like, just wrap a tourniquet around it, I'm fine. I want to continue. And by the way, the song is called 100 Years of Happiness. And I'm thinking this is about 2 minutes of absolute agony. She literally broke her foot, and she kept singing. She kept singing. I mean, this is a woman, I think, that in childbirth, she's like, I don't need any medicine. I'm cool. Just go. Let's just go. Well, you know what? Let's just go ahead and we'll do the cesarean without anesthesia. I'm perfectly fine. Let's go. Do it. Road rage is pretty funny. Well, no, not really funny, but how we behave in our cars is funny and frightening at the same time. And a lot of the times, and I've gotten out of this game, where you get into an angry exchange with somebody, and you're driving a 3,000-pound vehicle, and you do stupid crap. We're not exactly sure where this took place, but a road rage driver leaning out his window to shout at the people in a passing vehicle was quickly served up a dose of karma. So a road rage driver in the other lane is screaming at you. You're in the car. And this person is not paying attention. They're only talking profanity and yelling at you. And this is what happens. Road rager coming up. F you, bleep this. Oh, right into another car. Now watch this again. Flipping them off right into another car. Now, normally when you see somebody crash into another car, you go, oh, my God, what just happened? I've got to stop and ask for help. Not so much here, just a cackle. Again, we live in very strange times, don't we? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. A couple more stories to go before I say good evening. And I hope you've enjoyed the show. Costco just sold a $600,000 10-carat diamond ring at their store, okay, or online, I should say. Costco sells rings for about 470 different rings. They range from top prices like $419,000 to as low as $109, which would be the one that I get for my wife. Anyway, this $600,000 diamond ring was bought and sold at one of their global retailers. Chief Financial Officer Richard Galanti revealed the big-ticket purchase to analysts and investors on Friday while discussing Costco's second quarter ratings. Now, apparently, this customer, I can only assume, not only bought this ring, but also bought a gallon of mayonnaise and some street tacos and possibly a rotisserie chicken. I'm just saying, if you're going to be in Costco and you're going to buy a $600,000 ring, you might as well get the rotisserie chicken because it's fantastic. And honestly, the pizza that they have up front there, the pizza they sell with a slice, get the whole pie. Because even if you buy the pie back in the refrigerated section, it's never going to be as good as the people making it wearing the hairnets in the front of the store in the cafeteria or the sample ladies. Never going to be better. Just get it from the store. 100-year-old woman, Roxborough, North Carolina, said that, she's doing her bucket list and there's something in her life that she has never experienced and she wanted to experience before she goes on to, to the big beyond. And what was that, ladies and gentlemen? It was to be arrested.
Happy birthday. You're under arrest. That's exactly what a North Carolina woman who just turned 100 wanted to hear. Ruth Bryant happily celebrated her birthday in a jail. Bryant says she's lived a century.
Normally in your maybe in your 20s or 30s, the whole arrest fantasy is something completely different. This is just because she's 100 years old and has never been arrested.
And has never been arrested. She wanted it off her bucket list.
I'm not thinking this is on Harvey Weinstein's bucket list anymore. Maybe when he was in his 20s.
And the police obliged. Like that, click. Deputies showed up at her assisted living center and handcuffed her. She even resisted arrest by playfully kicking them. The deputies
I hope they pepper sprayed her.
Gave Bryant a round of hugs and a jailhouse portrait. Click. She returned to her retirement community and celebrated with a party and a good story.
Where'd she dream that up, you think?
It was in her bucket.
And there's the uncomfortable crosstalk between the anchors where they really don't know where they're going. So I'll just go ahead and get rid of that part of it. And finally, so you're hanging out with grandma and you're thinking that, grandma is 94 years old and grandma, it's her birthday and she is very grateful to be around and hey, it's grandma's big 94, and maybe, hey, we're 6 years away from the big 100 and we might do something really cool like have you arrested, something like that, and well, this 94-year-old, the woman's granddaughter, Pauline Kidder from Washington, D.C., posted this video on social media where basically grandma said, thanks for the happy birthdays, but I hope this is my last.
Dear Grandma Kidder, happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you very much. I hope this is my last.
Would you like me to bring the...
Okay, let's watch that again.
Dear Grandma Kidder, happy birthday to you.
Well, thank you very much. I hope this is my last.
Would you like me to bring the...
Okay, there you go. And it's like, okay, now we all kind of uncomfortably eat cake, I guess. Some more cake for you there, Uncle Joe. Grandma just basically wished that she'd die, even though we're all surrounding her and with love and everything. And okay. All right. Anyway, that is it for this episode of Rob Carson's What in the World. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like to check out my Facebook page, it is Rob Carson Show. Twitter feed at Rob Carson. And YouTube, just look up YouTube, Rob Carson Show. Have a glorious evening. Wash your hands. Elbow bump instead of shaking your hands. And let's get through this together, shall we? See you soon.